It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Nielsen, Gage, and Cass with you once again. As always, brought to you by our wonderful partners at CoolBet. Sign up for an account today. Use the code 2GUYS, the number 2 in the word guys, and you get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. Maybe you want to bet on the Oilers and the Capitals tonight. You can certainly do that. It's all part of the Nielsen Media CoolBet Network. Boys, how was the weekend?
Was good. Had a gala that we emceed for a Deer Recovery Center in Edmonton on Friday night, my wife and I, it was awesome. Great event, great cause. Was a lot of fun. And then I basically spent the rest of the weekend recovering because I was exhausted. but it was really good.
How was the meal? What was the meal? What was the gala?
The meal was good. It was good. It was like a roast chicken. A nice little beet salad to start with some goat cheese and some mixed greens, and then some chicken and potatoes and veggies, and then a nice little berry cheesecake to finish it off. So it was, it was tasty. They raised a lot of money.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
How
much money you guys raise?
I don't know the final tally yet. I know their low end target was like 200,000. I'm fairly certain they probably hit that.
Big time event.
You know, the big thanks for me to a couple different groups that helped us out. Brad at the Chop Steakhouse, they had a nice little thing that they helped out.
He's a good dude, Brad. He's a card guy. He's a sports card guy.
Dude. Yeah, he is a card guy. But he was a big help. Edmonton Oilers alumni donated some items which were pretty good, and we were able to throw those together. Bill Scott from the Oilers also donated a couple things, and I think he managed to get his hands on a Connor McDavid autographed jersey, which may have been one of the bigger ticket items of the night. They did a live auction, and I think that thing fetched around $6,000 they were able to raise for it, which was awesome. So they did a lot of really, really good things, able to raise a ton of money, which was great. So yeah, Deer Recovery Center in Edmonton. My wife does quite a bit of volunteering with them and helps out with some of their ladies, which is good. So
good for you guys, Cass. That's
awesome.
It
was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Did Bill Scott say anything about how good his son's minor hockey coach is?
No, he didn't. I didn't know his son's. Is he on your team?
I'm coaching him. Yeah.
No, he was. He was out of town. Bill had to be on the road, so he wasn't able to. Bill wasn't able to be there. But Eddie Steele from the Edmonton Elks was. I'm pretty good buddies with him. So I was going to target Bill the whole night and make fun of Bill, but since he wasn't able to be there, I basically went after Eddie on repeat over and over again. So, but he took it like a champ. He was pretty gentle stuff, but he did a great job too.
Gage, how was your weekend, man?
Let me think about this, Dusty. How was my weekend? It was good. It was okay. My daughter had a dance competition out at the competition / convention sort of thing. I think she placed second in her solo, so that's pretty
nice.
Good. And then I did the Oilers Plus on Saturday, which wasn't good. And then just kind of relaxed. Lots of snow. My dog, I played with my dog
the little guy
Sunday out in the backyard because it's ridiculous watching him chase snowflakes and jump in the snow everywhere. So he's too cute. It's too much. So, and I told you he was about to pull down I was making, I called it chicken surprise or whatever, but he was about to pull the pot down he's already big enough to jump up on the stove, which is kind of scary, but he almost pulled a pot down and I yelled at him. So today, I was more yelling at him just to not kill himself, but he feels shame. And he's beside me as we speak, laying on my feet because he feels bad.
I was in Winnipeg. No, it wasn't. Where was I? I was in Vancouver for the weekend. I'm in Winnipeg next weekend.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. You can't really tell the difference. Anyway, because you guys are foodies, right? So I got to lay this out to you. I put out a picture on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, but their chef at BC Place brought up what they call like long bone ribs or something like that. It's just like one big long, and then it's all cut off. And I tell you guys, like, it might have been the most delicious thing I've ever eaten in my entire life. I'm looking at Suits as we're eating it. I'm like, holy shit, these are good for like a football game. He goes, yeah, it was nuts. I'll text you guys the picture after, Cass. You can get a look at it. It was like, I didn't even know it was a thing. It was like one big long bone that they kind of, cut off the meat. And it was unreal.
It was
Absolutely
huge.
Unreal. It was huge. It was nuts.
It was massive. Yeah.
It was nuts.
Huge.
Yeah, it was really good. Okay, before we get into hockey, I do have to ask you guys this because I needed new winter tires for my Ford Explorer. And so I just went on Google and I was just like, West Edmonton, winter tires, they're going to do it. And the first place that popped up was Mr. Lube, the lube joint that sponsors Pit Stop Pals Gager. So I was like, oh, that makes sense. Sponsor Pit Stop Pals. So they ordered my tires in, and my wife's already on me. She's like, "You're getting new winter tires done at a lube place, at an oil place?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, they sell the tires." Yeah. So I roll in today, drop off my vehicle at like 8 a.m., and the guy's like almost nobody knew what was going on, and I'm like, "Yeah, I got the winter tires." I said, "I think these are the ones right here. Perfect." And I said to the guy, I said, "Do you do a lot of tires?" And he's like, "Nope. Not many tires." And I was just like, oh no, what have I done? So you guys are adults, much more than me. Should I have gone to a tire place for tires, or do you think it'll be okay getting tires from Mr. Lube?
You'll probably be fine. I don't think if you're not having to get them like balanced and everything crazy, it's not overly complex. I mean, you can so if you had the tires already, now if they're swapping the rubber and putting new rubber on rims,
they're swapping the rubber on. They're putting on my winters onto my current rims, right? At least that's what I hope they did.
I guess we'll see. You should be fine. I got my tire guy here at Sherwood Park, so I typically go there for mine. But I don't know. I think you'll be okay. It's not like that's like a deep mechanical thing. You just need the torque wrench. Although again, if they're swapping rubber on the rims,
swapping them out, right? So yeah. Gager, would you have done this?
Of course. Any sponsor of the Pit Stops Pals can't go wrong. No,
I'll be honest, I did it out of convenience. It's like 3 minutes from my house. So I was just like, I would have bought tires from a Popeyes if they had them, if it was that close to the house. So, all right, Oilers, Gager, you mentioned you were on what is now becoming known as Gager Plus over the weekend. And what was the breakdown like from that loss? I had 2 periods while I was waiting on the freaking tarmac to leave on Saturday. Ugh. And then I didn't see much of the third. But what was the big takeaway from that game?
Well, I think I went with my number one takeaway was it's gazpacho. Soup's cold. That's what the headliner was. Just, I mean, I know I've been in Campbell's, and we'll get to the goalies, but I've been in his corner but he's got to be better. Okay. That was the main thing. And you heard Coach Woodcroft, and you're trying to find anything to kind of be good about the game, I think. And the only thing I thought that was okay was the play of Puljujarvi and Fogle, I think, is what the only guys that I thought that were somewhat okay. And it was just they laid an egg. To a man, they completely laid an egg. I thought that I didn't touch on it then, but I thought just the way that they lost against the Devils, I think that affected them a little bit. Like it seemed like they were a little bit down. They never had anything from the start to finish, man. It was a horrible game. So there wasn't much to talk. Every guy, you can't put the blame on anyone. It was just everyone kind of sucked.
Yep.
Cass, how you summed it up on the post-game show or what?
Yeah, it was an egg by everyone. Campbell does need to be better. I don't think the loss was his fault, but it wasn't very good. And I'm with you, Gager. I've been in his corner pretty strongly. He does need to improve. I mean, it is fine when you're winning. I don't worry when you're winning. But when your team isn't playing great in front of you, you need to have a night. He didn't. And the team as a whole was just bad. They were just bad. No jump, no energy, no nothing. It was just it was a stinker of a game.
Gager, did that puck go through his glove? Like the way he looked at his, I haven't been able to find a good replay one way or the other here.
No, I tried to. But they showed there was a screenshot, and it like some of the webbing was
yeah,
stretched.
the webbing looked loose.
That's got it. and there was like a puck mark in there, but you're gonna get that just from practice alone.
Yeah.
It's gonna get really dark in there. But yeah, the way he looked, but I think it just went right through it. Like he got a good chunk of it, but even then, Dusty, when you watch him play, it was a sign of a very tentative, unconfident goaltender. Like to get a shot from that far out and immediately go to your knees so quickly, that seems a little bit scared to me. And even with the save, it was kind of like he stabbed at it like a little kid in ball hockey playing goal for the first time. It looked ridiculous, the whole movement of it. So yeah, he's not feeling it at the moment right now with that, and that just compounded from there.
Cass, how would you handle the goalies on the road trip here? 4-game trip. You got the back-to-backs tonight and then 2 more, all pretty good opposition. I mean, there's no real easy game. In fact, with the Washington injuries, tonight might be the easiest of them all. What would you do with the goalies over the 4 games?
Well, you got to split. You split the back-to-back.
Yeah.
And then I think Skinner gets Carolina.
And then play it from there.
And then play it from there. Yep. That to me is a logical way. You are going to go back-to-back. So I think, well, it is Skinner already tonight. They've announced that, have they not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Skinner gets it tonight. Campbell will go tomorrow. And then I think Skinner gets Carolina and you roll from there. I mean, Campbell's got to bounce back tomorrow. He does.
Gage, with what you're seeing from Campbell right now and the way that, everybody has told us how hard he is on himself and things like that, would you dial him back a bit just to allow him to maybe kind of not get too rattled and sort of compose himself a little bit here? Or do you keep running him out there in a 50-50 with Skinner right now?
Yeah, I think the best thing is a 50-50, Dusty. You don't want to pull him back to like 25-75. I don't think that would be good. You want to forget about the last performance as quick as possible, and the best way to do that is get into another game, right? So this way with a back-to-back now, he can kind of just start focusing on tomorrow night, right? I think that's the best thing for him. And just take it one step at a time. I think they were talking about on your show this morning, Dusty, about how he's so hard on himself, right? And he said, and I don't know if that's a little bit of him just taking some of the pressure off maybe his teammates so they focus on him a little bit more, but you got to be careful. And it's funny to see the difference from last year, which you had a goalie that's almost too confident at times and with what he said, to a guy that's putting all the blame on his shoulders. So I think a happy medium is necessary. You, as a goalie, especially in the NHL, there might be maybe 4-5 games a year where really the only reason your team won was because of your play and you just dominated the game. It doesn't happen that much. Like, you need a lot of help, and it's a team game. So he's just got to realize that a little bit. And I know it's probably really hard for him because he hasn't played well.
All right. Looks like they're going to kind of shuffle things up here a little bit. Cass, let me lay these out for you, then you can give me your thoughts. McDavid, Nuge, and yes, Puljujarvi. Draisaitl with Hyman and Kane. McLeod with Ryan and Fogle, and then Holloway centering Shore and Yamamoto. Nurse, Cece, Kulak, Bouchard, and then whoever with Tyson Barrie. What do you think of that shuffle up front, if that's what we end up seeing here?
Yeah, well, I think they'll start the game with that. I mean, you're trying to get a different look. You lost the game against New Jersey, and then you had an absolute stinker. So you're gonna give it a little bit of a different look. I don't doubt that depending on how the game starts, you could see a switch again in the lines. The only thing, and I get why you're doing it, is I still really like that third line, and I know everybody was bad. Everybody was bad, but I did like, still, for the most part this season, I really like that McLeod, Puljujarvi, Fogle line. So that's the part where I'm like, I don't know if I like getting away from that. But really, aside from that, what do you do? I thought we were going to see Holloway on one of the top 6 to start this game, just to give it a little bit of a different look from a skill guy standpoint. But again, Holloway at times has made some pretty grade A mistakes out there, and turnovers. So I guess it's not overly surprising. But I'm interested to see how it plays out. Interested to see how that third line does. And yeah, you're trying for something different here to get some juice because you didn't have any against the Dallas Stars.
Gager, what do you think, buddy?
You know, you say Holloway. I'm surprised he's still up with the big club, to tell you the truth. I thought, in my mind, just seeing, because as you know, like Cass mentioned this before, you go on the road and line matching becomes more difficult, and you would probably, with Holloway at home, you get to put him out there first for some offense.
Yeah, if he's playing 5 minutes at home, how much is he going to play on the road?
That's going to be curious to see what his minutes look like here. And if they're down, Dusty, that's
shut him right down. That line doesn't play.
Yeah, that's not going to bode well for not only his confidence but his development as well. So we'll see. I guess I like the shakeup, but something needs to be done. But really, the Oilers just have to start on time, and not play at the level of their competition. And I'm not saying they have to play the way that makes them so successful, and that's with speed, aggressiveness, with not just like hitting and bang, but taking time and space away from the other team. I thought we saw that in a few of those games on the road, on their previous road trip. But they just have to play at that level where it makes it very difficult and uncomfortable for the other team to be successful. They can't wait to just ease into the game and expect to just outscore their problems.
All right, tonight they get Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals. Caps are certainly banged up. You know, we had this conversation with Sidney Crosby when the Penguins rolled through town on, you know, his place among the all-time greats, and if he's not in the top 5, where does he fall? You know, as we had that Crosby conversation that week on my show and on this podcast, you know, the whole Ovechkin thing kind of popped up, you know, and he does have the Stanley Cup, but this guy could have very well be the all-time leading goal scorer when it's all said and done, viewed by many already as the greatest goal scorer ever. He won the Calder in a year when Sidney Crosby was also a rookie. He's got 1 Art Ross, but he's got 3 Hart trophies. I believe only Gordie Howe and Wayne Gretzky have won more than 3 Hart trophies. There's a bunch of guys who have 3. But I think Howe and Gretzky are the only 2 who have more than 3. He won the Rocket Richard 9 times, won the Conn Smythe, got the Stanley Cup, won the Lindsay or Lester Beer Pearson 3 times combined. I mean, when you look at this resume, guys, like, I don't know how he doesn't fall in the top 10 as well when it's all said and done. Is that, I mean, like, what would go against Ovechkin, I guess, that would take him out of the top 10? Because a lot of the other names that we throw in there, he's won more awards than all those guys.
Well, he's just a borderline Hall of Famer to me. Not serious. No, he probably would be. I mean, I do think we need to do this. I think it would be really good for us to do like a ranking list in the offseason. That'll be, I totally on board with that, because that'll be fun. He's in my top 10. He's in my top 10. He is the greatest goal scorer. You said some people think that. I'm one of those people that thinks he's the greatest goal scorer of all time. To me, he fits in the top 10. I mean, for a long time, people would have critiqued him, like, well, he hasn't won any cups. And I get that, but he has won one now. So he's got a cup. He has fit that in, and he just continues to score goals and do amazing things. So yeah, he fits in there. I mean, he already would be knocking on the door of the all-time goal record in a time when not many people, it's increasing in the last couple of years, but not many people are scoring a ton of goals. For a major part of his career, he had the lockouts that hampered his total goal numbers. So yeah, he to me is in that top 10 for sure.
Gager, you agree with us or what?
Well, yeah, you have to look at last year's, just as a comparison. Like last year's Hart Trophy winner was Austin Matthews, and why did he win it over Connor McDavid? Because he scored goals. So that's what all this guy's done for his whole career is bury biscuits. Like, it's crazy that he's still blowing it past goalies from the tops of the circles with a wrist shot. You know, like, come on. Of course he's the best goal scorer to ever play this game. He'd already be past Gretz if there was no lockouts. He was in the prime of his career with and back.
His rookie season was takeaway, right? He should have been over a year earlier. Yeah,
and you're getting Backstrom at his best too, who's just feeding him one-timer after one-timer. So, man, I'm crossing my fingers that this happens. We talked about this before, but yeah, it'd be hard if he passes Gretzky's. That's tough not to put him in top 5 at that point, Dusty, with what you said with his hardware.
Yeah, okay, you know what? I mean, that's elite company, but because we talked about it before, right? We talked about Gretzky, Mario, Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr. Who's number 5? Some people want to put Sidney Crosby in there. There's a bunch of other guys you can put in there. You want to mix in goalies, defensemen, who knows? But at the end, there will only be one who has the all-time goal-scoring record, who won 9 Rocket Richards, who got the Calder, he literally has won everything. And he's won multiple of most of them. So, yeah, I mean, you could make a case. I think you can make a case for him to be in that number 5 spot, right, Cass? Like, I don't think he's busting into the top 4, but I think you can make a case for him to be in that number 5 spot.
I agreed. I don't think he's in the top 4. I probably wouldn't have him there, but I wouldn't begrudge anybody having him in that number 5 spot at all. I would have to sit and think if I would put him there, and it's going to take more than just 10 seconds of thinking right now.
Yeah. But that's why we're going to have the all-time top 50 of the summer. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if someone had him there, I'd be like, yeah, okay. Like I'm not going to fight you on it. I might have him a little bit lower, but maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't get upset at somebody if they did.
Oh, don't worry. We will get upset along the way, especially when you have Roman Josi 14th on your all-time list this summer. It'll be quite the
Roman Josi 14th all-time. Get out of here.
All right. Okay, from a laughing matter to obviously not a laughing matter. Boston Bruins. Cass, what an interesting 24 hours. This wasn't even something that was drawn out over a week. Your thoughts on how this whole situation was handled by the Bruins organization? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't consult with the NHL beforehand. That's probably something you should have done. I will say this: he was young when the incidents happened, and they're not acceptable, not okay. But I also think it's callous to think that people can't grow and change and have regret for past mistakes and past decisions and things that they have done that were wrong. I mean, I don't know him personally. I don't know the offended party and the victims. So I'm not in a position to say that Boston should have given him an opportunity or should not have given him the opportunity. I really think. I think, they should have done more due diligence with the league on it. That to me was the big mistake, to sign a kid and then all of a sudden have the league be like, "Hey, you can't play here." I mean, that doesn't work. At the same time, I do have some empathy towards, a kid trying to make it in his pro hockey career and mistakes that he did make as a kid, really, as a juvenile still. I mean, it's hard. I don't know. It's a tough situation, and I think a really complex situation and a really hard situation. Boston should have consulted with more people in the league.
Gager, I mean, that's a no-brainer, right? Like, if you're Boston, I mean, you've been ripped by everybody, including your guys on your own roster, let alone not even checking with the league, knowing how this is going to be viewed. And it's so, I mean, very tough for us to have an opinion on the kid himself. I did read some reports that, the abuse that he did lay out there was over a couple of years stretch. And yeah, I mean, we just don't know if he's grown up or not. That's not for us to know or have an opinion on, but the Boston Bruins got to handle this in a better light. Don't they, Gager? This is pathetic.
Well, I think what happened, Dusty, is they said they thought it was the isolated incident. It wasn't. This was over a number of years of torment and horrible behavior towards an individual who was handicapped. I think the Boston Bruins found this out, and then I think they actually went to the league and said, "What do we do here?" and had Bettman say, kind of, you know what, I'll take all over all this and not allow it at all, and then we can just move away from this
or whatever.
That's your way out. And I think that's what happened. But for me, Dusty, I read the letter that the mom sent to, I believe, the league, and it is horrible to read the number of occasions where it was just constant torment, and the words that were used towards their son is just unacceptable. And the amount of times that it was brought to the attention of people of authority, and still it seemed like nothing was ever done. Yeah. And that's really disturbing. And I know that the truth is somewhere in between, and I realize you can't just look at one side. But the fact that everyone involved, it didn't seem like there was a huge effort for an apology to make things right. And the only time that there was when, it looks like my career might get back. That's when this started again. I just feel
that even seemed half-assed from what I read.
It was very half-assed, and there just doesn't seem to be any remorse even to this point. And I have no time for it. And I don't think, unless this guy still has tons of work to do to even be considered to play, I think, at sports at a professional level. And the amount of time it would take him to convince me, I think, or anyone else, he probably will have aged himself out of any sort of deal. It's completely unacceptable behavior from any individual, and it should have been stopped right when it started, and everything would have been fine. But it seemed like so much was pushed under the rug for way too long, and this type of behavior was catered to because someone showed promise in a sport they play.
Yeah, it shouldn't have never been catered to. I mean, there should have been people to step in and to stop.
Like, how doesn't somebody step in when that vicious shit going on? Like, I don't know. I don't get it, man.
And that's again, it's like Gager said, it is totally unacceptable. Now I don't know. And I don't know if it's out there, if he has tried to make amends for how he can. And the remorse and true remorse, if there has been true remorse. I do think in situations like that, if there is actual remorse and actual growth and actual learning, I do believe that people deserve opportunities to move past mistakes. Now, has he done that? I'm not privy to that. I don't think you guys are. Boston certainly doesn't seem to be, which is the baffling thing about it. Yeah, which is the baffling thing about it. Like, if you're gonna go sign this kid, I mean, you would or should have been pretty sure
you're turning over every single stone on multiple levels, are you? Yeah. Like,
you should be. Yeah. And that's, to me, where they again dropped the ball in consulting with the league. I mean, they should have went to the victims and spoken with them about it, and found out if there has been attempts to reconcile and to apologize, and what those attempts have been. Like, there's so much more homework you should have done. So it reflects very poorly on them. Doesn't look good.
It's tough like Marchand, like, and Bergeron, and good for them for sticking up too, like actually going against
as opposed to just saying, it's an organization decision. Like, like,
I mean, you got to have a certain status symbol within the team, I think, to be able to voice your opinion. They've obviously are great players and stuff like that. But I was impressed by what they had to say.
All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. Hey, let's Cass, I know you're going to say 7-1. Gager, give me a prediction for the game tonight.
Oh gosh, Caps in time change. Are they going to start? I think the Oilers got this one. I'm going to say 4-3, Dusty. With the amount of injuries, I think it's not going to be pretty this game. It's going to be clawing and scratching, but I think they got this one 4-3.
And of course, you can bet that exact score over at our partners at CoolBet and say Gager sent you 4-3 the final tonight, according to Gager. Boys, enjoy the game tonight and breaking it down. Gager, are you an Oilers Plus tonight or anything going on there?
No, I will be for the next 3 games though. So stay.
Jeez,
Get,
they must have nobody else. They are using
no,
you
they
a
don't.
lot.
They don't. No, when everyone else says no, get Gage.
Hey, Cash, you'll be on tonight with Gazzola?
Yeah,
All right, boys.
absolutely.
Enjoy breaking it down. We'll catch up on Thursday. See you later.
Later, boys.